It's been over 5 years since I beat my very first insane map, Lost Desert, on May 7th, 2020 at 4:34 p.m. 5 whole years since I started playing Flood Escape 2. This year, in the perspective of the public eye, I've been distant from Flood Escape 2, moving to Forsaken videos in favor of a game that was new, popular, and exciting, but I never truly left FE2. I continue to play the game to this day, and as you all have seen, I've released many maps this year, ranging from rehydrated remakes, crazy maps, to maps based on one of my favorite franchises. But why bring this up? Why here? Why now? I need to preface this video with my deep connection to this game, to its community, and why it all matters. FE2 has had a problem that has been plaguing it for nearly 3 years now, but more recently, this plague has only become more apparent. Highlights. If you have kept up with the game, highlights need no introduction. In short, highlights are a few select community maps which are added to the game for a month, and then after are added permanently to the community map roster, which has a chance of appearing next to the base permanent maps. Back then when it was introduced, this system was great, and exactly what FE2 needed at the time. It was a way to bring new content to the game, show off the best of what the community has been up to, keep dedicated fans happy, but also not permanently alter the game. It was genius. But as this system went on, ambitions got bigger. Now each difficulty was required to have at least one map. Maps had to meet a checklist to even be considered, which all culminated in 2024's Here to Stay update. All highlights, new and old, would be added permanently. I don't think this was a bad idea. However, a new problem presented itself. If we're adding all future highlights permanently, what happens when the amount of maps reaches 200, or 500, or eventually 1,000? Will we just keep piling on maps endlessly until the game is so bloated it's impossible for someone who hasn't played the game for years to learn any maps or their mechanics? Which brings me to an even larger point, bloat. The 6 map per difficulty each month resulted in bloat of a roster that only continues to grow with each passing year. I know this problem is being looked into, as I've previously discussed this in a video. The bloat issue is only a small part of a much larger problem in highlights. The main problem with highlights is the highlighted maps themselves. The quality of highlights has gone down drastically as the system has moved forward. From what used to be maps with interesting themes, mechanics, and gameplay has turned into what is essentially the same map. The same terrain style, with oversized mesh detail that does nothing original, nothing to set it apart from any other map of the same style. This isn't only map making either, it extends to composing. Soundtracks and highlights have grown very uniform, all following the same style, not trying to do anything different than the last. The system has resulted in composers jumping on the opportunity to ask to make a soundtrack for a map immediately when it's released, which is behavior that I've witnessed grow more common in recent times. Highlights used to incentivize creativity, to make a map that has new ideas never seen in this game before. Unfortunately, the new system has created disincentives. Why should I innovate and come up with new ideas if I can make the same maps that's been done dozens of times before? Flood Escape 2 highlights reward mediocrity. A system that focuses on quantity over quality. A system that was once a beacon of creativity is now simply a quota that must be fulfilled every 2 months. A quota that no longer incentivizes creativity, but making maps as fast as possible in the same design style that has been seen in the game dozens of times. And to the creators who do make maps like this, I don't blame you. It isn't your fault. You are being incentivized by a system to do the same thing over and over again. A system that, let us not forget, rewards you with monetary gain. And to those creators who do make maps this way, please do not take what I'm saying the wrong way and quit. Instead, let this be a call to action, that you have the potential to do great things. Keep making things and explore your creativity. Try things that have never been done before, and eventually you will build a reputation for yourself in this community and be truly appreciated. Everyone has to start somewhere. I wasn't always the map maker I am today. I had to slowly make maps and hone my craft over the course of 4 years to make a name for myself, and you can do that too. Even the greats like Disney 12, Short Round Zach, Noomlick, Smokey the Fox, and countless others had to start somewhere and try new things that have never been done before. Most people will never admit that they're making maps for the highlight, that they're doing it for fun. And that may be true, However, I believe a system that has monetary gain in exchange for mediocrity will result in some people doing it for the money. You could choose to do it for fun like I do. FE2 is a free country and you can do whatever you please. But there is a crucial difference between what can happen and what is probably going to happen. Even if there was no monetary gain, there would be people who do it anyway. It's just how the world works. Some people do things for passion and others do the same things for money or fame. Don't get me wrong, people doing it for money isn't necessarily a bad thing either. Monetary gain can lead to great ideas. The problem is that currently the system rewards this mediocrity. It rewards those who may not put their best effort forward in return for the money. The truth is, in recent times, I found myself becoming more disinterested in what highlights have to offer. A growing apathy. What happened? Oh my god, is FE2 bad? No. You don't need me to tell you that. But this system, this plague, it needs to change. It needs to be cured. So, what is the cure? Is it to end highlights? No, I think there's a way out of this, a way to please everyone. I think the system needs to change once again, an overhaul that will fix the problems that I've mentioned here. And it's more simple than you may think. We need a system that rewards creativity, that rewards trying new detail style and unique gameplay. The system is as easy as going back to monthly highlights, but only highlighting maps that actually deserve it. No more quota, no more minimum. Carefully chosen maps that truly show the best of the community instead of highlighting any map for the sake of content. I believe under this system, people who do make the same nature-themed maps that I spoke on earlier will be incentivized to try new things, to hone their craft, and truly make something spectacular. Everyone has the potential to be great, to be the next hotshot mapmaker. It's just now, I don't think there's necessarily an incentive to do so. As I said earlier, the current system actually disincentivizes this. Again, why should I spend 6 months or a year on a map perfecting it when I could spend 2 weeks on a map and reap the same rewards? If there's no drive to do something greater, people will continue to do the same thing over and over again until they eventually move on from this game entirely. I believe that with this proposed system, people would start caring about highlights once again. I don't have the exact numbers, so take this with a grain of salt, but this year, I've hardly seen the player count move whenever highlights drop. And I think this is partly due to the quantity over quality model, but also the marketing of highlights themselves. Back then, highlights would be the focus of the game icon, showing off to everyone that new maps have arrived. For a very long time now, the only thing we get for highlights in terms of marketing is a video on Discord and an announcement on Twitter. That's it. No name change, no special icon. The only way you know if these highlights drop is if you're already a dedicated fan who follows the Twitter and is in the Discord. So under this proposed system, I'd bring back the marketing so people actually know that the highlights are out, that the game is actively being updated with new maps. This way, highlights would actually feel like the big event that they were 3 years ago. As of right now, it just feels like this mediocre thing that people will log on, play, and then never think about these maps again. This video may come off as harsh to some, but it's something I felt very strongly about for over a year now, and I've seen no change since then other than making the highlights every 2 months instead of every month, which has done little to circumvent the actual problem. Am I going too far? Am I talking out my ass? How far am I willing to go to avoid the more obvious answer? Maybe I'm the problem. Who am I to judge people's creativity? Who am I to deem what is quality or what fits this made-up standard of excellence? Maybe I'm only talking to a small fraction of you now, who think the same way I do, an even smaller fraction of the people who continue to play and support this game. But you want to know why I made this video? Because I play Floodescape today and I see how the quality of maps has fallen in my eyes. That highlights are now merely just a quota that must be met. That there is no longer an incentive to do something great. So that's it then. That's who I've become. Someone who believes creative expression is wasteful? Is there hope for a cure? Well, yes. There's always room for improvement, and I will always be rooting for Floodescape 2, no matter what. We can only hope that going into 2026, we will see some meaningful change. I have lots of faith in the new developers, and I've had a conversation with them on this subject, where we have seemingly found a common ground. At this point, I can only hope for the best. And for those map makers watching this video, don't take my words as discouragement. Instead, let it fuel you to keep going. Keep being creative, keep trying new things, and one day, if you persevere, you will make a name for yourself, and you will have your own piece in what makes Floodescape 2 an amazing game. Thank you all for watching this video, and please let me know if you'd like to see more like it. I love talking about this game and would like to do more videos like this, as opposed to like the just gameplay update videos that I've been doing for quite a while now. I know this has been a weird year with me stepping back from FE2, but in recent times, I've really started to dislike making Forsaken videos. I won't delve much into it here, because it's not the focus of this video, but I want to shift gears back into mainly Flood Escape 2 videos. Flood Escape 2 is the one game on Roblox I truly love, and it's a game that I think about and make stuff for all the time. Lots of big things are happening in the background with Flood Escape, some that I'm involved in, so don't expect me to be going away anytime soon.